Good? Yeah. All right. Good evening and welcome to the February 18th, 2026 business meeting. Sand still can't hear you.
Awesome. So you just do mic, both mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. All right. Third time's the charm. Welcome to the February 18th, 2026 business meeting. If you stand and join me for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I have the reading of the mission and vision statement, please?
Mission statement: Richmond Community Schools guides students on pathways of learning to a future of limitless possibilities.
Vision statement: Richmond Community Schools, a collaborative community nurturing mind, body, and spirit to prepare students for lives of choice, purpose, and service.
Dr. Wright, celebrations.
President Brand, trustees, I'm going to ask that Mrs. Bridget Hazelbaker, our Director of Student Services and Communication, come to the podium to acknowledge tonight's honorees. Welcome back, Mrs. Hazelbaker.
Spelling SPELLINGBEE and the winners. Will the spelling be winners? So we have our first place finisher here. Our second place finisher was injured at school today, so he's not able to attend Carson. And then Jason Thompson, Sadie Sutherland, and Tyron Glenn. So I need the five of you this again so they can guess who's who. All right, so Kira, will you go first? Tell us your name, what grade you're in, and tell me what word you want. Do you know the word that you want for the spelling bee? Oh, I got you. Yes. Look at your mom. It's mom. I think it was grimace. Grimace. Oh, good. All right, so come on up.
My name is Kira. I am in third grade, and the word that made me want to spell and bee was grimace.
Grimace. All right. And who did you bring with you today?
My mom and my grandma.
And is there anybody here from your school?
Yes, there's a Sadie Sutherland.
Are there any staff members from your school?
There is my teacher, but who else?
Yes. All right, good. All right. And then we had a tie for third place. So these three, all of y'all come up, just step up forward for me. For y'all. All right, Sadie, you go ahead and go first for me.
My name is Sadie. I'm in fourth grade.
You're what school?
I go to Hibbert Building Program School.
And what do you know what word?
I lost on the word, but they did the last round.
Okay. Okay. And who did you bring with you today?
My mom, my brother, my dad, and my sister.
And is there anybody here from your school
Other
than your friends?
my teacher, my professor.
Okay. All right. Tyron?
My name is Tyron. I'm in fifth grade, and I'm from Charles.
At Charles. And do you remember what word? Or let's go ahead and ask. How did you prepare for the spelling bee? Did you have a whole bunch of flashcards, or how did you prepare for this? Oh, you don't know. Now tell me, not everybody got to go to spelling bee. So how did you advance? How did you get to Civic Hall? Who picked that group? Your teacher, but you actually won. You got what? First, second, or third place at Charles for the fourth graders. And then there were third graders too that advanced. Right. And then did I ask who did you bring with you? Your mom. Oh, there she is. All right. And what's in the star? All right, Jason, your turn.
My name is Jason. I go to Hibbert.
What grade are you in?
4.
And who did you bring with you?
My dad.
Very good, good. And what did you do to prepare?
So I had like a packet of words. Like I had to practice every day.
Right. Now, Kira, will you be going on to a next round? Will you be going to? Is there something that happens after the Richmond spelling bee?
Yeah, after the district one, I think two might be I think it might be the county spelling bee.
Okay. All right. And then, so you three are fourth graders, so you guys don't. So, are you planning to do the spelling bee next year, Kira?
Yes.
And then I think Carson's also, he's a third grader at Charles. And he will also be in that running for the spelling bee next year as well. So any advice do you have for anybody to do this? I mean, is it practice, 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 or is it luck? What's
Practice.
Practice? Were there any words on it that were just out of the mind? Like, it was just, grimace sounds like a hard. I when I think of grimace, I think of McDonald's. Anybody else? Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
I would just say I was there. I got to be one of the judges, and all the students, the poise, and it's nerve wracking walking in on the stage there. And you guys all did a great job. And congratulations to you and to your parents, the teachers, and Mrs. Service, principal at Fairview, was kind of in charge of organizing it. It was a great event. So congratulations.
Yes, you guys should be super proud. It takes a lot of guts. I've been to the spelling bee with my son, and I was probably more nervous than he was, but it's hard enough just to spell when you're writing. You guys are up on stage with people just staring at you, so it's a huge accomplishment. So congrats.
As I shared with each and every one of you, as well as all the other contestants, you all were winners. Despite how it played out, the fact that you all, as was exercised, or as was shared, exercised the courage to be there in the first place. Not only at your schools, but also on the grand stage there at City Hall. It was tremendous to see the courage and act. And you all overcame your fears. You spoke publicly, just as you are right now, with everyone watching you. How many of you all are nervous right now? How many of you all would love, as a school board, for us to spell grimace? I'm teasing. Don't be. You see how nervous they became, how we all became. But again, congratulations. You definitely represented your schools as well as the corporation so well. And with literacy levels increasing, you all displayed those quite well. So let's definitely give them a round of applause.
Let's get a photo. Oh, Miss. Hold on. Just stand right here just for a moment. We'll get a photo.
So great.
I told you to.
Smile. All right, thank you guys. All right. So a couple Saturdays ago, I went to Richmond 40 Bowl and I created a TikTok of some of these guys, and it went very, very well. So, and I don't even think they realize that they're going to be TikTok stars. But so anyway, I would like for the Richmond boys and girls both on the team members, so please step up. All right. So we're here to celebrate the bowling team. Did extremely well. Semi-state, and then we also had a student also advance to state at Fort Wayne over Valentine's Day that we had. And what Miss Robert. Thank you. So again, can you guys just, you don't have to walk up here, but can you say your name, what grade you're in? Yep, go ahead.
My name is Michael Gimmon. I'm in 10th grade.
I'm Ethan DeSony. I'm in 9th grade. And Warren Guest, and I'm in 10th grade.
My name is Paul Hunter. I'm in 10th grade. There's Kid Mathena. I'm in 9th grade.
My name's Cody Corbett, 2nd grade.
My name is Brian King. I'm in 9th grade. My name is Bryce White. I'm a 12th grader.
My name is Jacob Gettinger. I'm in 11th grade.
My name's Adam Rocker and I'm a freshman, so great.
And coaches?
I'm Jeff Maitland, assistant coach for Richmond High School.
Mike Giggins, and I'm definitely a senior.
All right, so can I have, Mr. Whitey, can you tell us a little bit about your season? Can you step up and explain a little bit what the success and some of the challenges you guys had
Well,
this season?
Our season went pretty well. We obviously won sectionals for our conference, so we did pretty good. We had a bit of fallout during semi-state, but nothing that these guys can't pick up next year.
How we doing regionals?
Oh, we did right.
Even though someone left to coach, left the regional championship trophy at the house.
All right, so Jake, will you come up and tell us a little bit about state?
Well, it was my return year back, so I try to be less nervous, but it's kind of hard not to be nervous when you make it to that level. But I went out and did the best I could all day and fought hard, and the determination proved that whatever possible can be done, and if you want to do it, there's a will, there's a way. And I finished top 10 in the state, which is a big, huge achievement to place top 10.
You have any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Comments? Accolades?
I will say that bowling is definitely hard, especially if you don't have the bumpers. Us parents can contest if we have smaller kids, but bowling is huge. And I think, and I want to say this really clear, I really appreciate you guys for everything you do and what town you represent. That's Richmond.
I learned about oil patterns and stuff. I had no idea. It was so new. And like a map, I mean, Mr. Higgins was able to share a lot. I had no idea.
I still don't know how to curve the ball. I just throw it down lane as fast as I can.
I
That's
do
gonna
have
have to teach
a
me.
question.
Yeah.
I'd like to know your thoughts on cosmic bowling because with cosmic bowling, and this is for those who don't know, there's like, fun music, the lights are off, it's like neon lights, and is that real bowling? That's my question because it was
I mean, it's all real bowling.
okay.
Cosmic bowling is just a lot harder.
Okay, so it does affect your game.
Oh,
and your
yes, you
strategy.
can't see anything on the lane.
Thank you, because I felt like my game just was a little off. And then you had the black lights.
In my mind, cosmic is where we need to start because it's all about having fun.
Yeah.
And if these guys don't have fun, we're wasting our time as coaches.
I love it. Well, it was a fun experience. So
And we obviously we didn't have the girls turn out as much. The girls team also I know we're at the senior night, freshman night, incoming freshmen, and we're trying to recruit some players for your team. That was good as well. Anything else?
So as to not dominate the discussion, and the board, as well as I think our community, have come to understand my appreciation and the fact that you all allowed me to nerd out when it comes to learning about oil patterns and the two-handed bowl versus the one, and if you have to actually stick all three fingers in, or you can get away from one. Nevertheless, it has been a joy watching this program evolve and grow. Coaches, we talked before, parents that are in the audience, and I know I can say a few things, and this place will become very loud as it does in the bowling alleys, but I don't want to scare the kids. But nevertheless, you all, again, continue to represent our city, our town, our school, your peers quite well. Most successful extracurricular program in the last 15, 16 years, by far. It was a secret, Jacob. As I shared with you on Sunday, there at state finals in Fort Wayne, you caught me off guard with your clean facial hair. So I went home and I told my wife, you know what? Jacob overcame and improved upon his previous performance. Last year, you were 29th, 28th. This year, you finished in the top 10. You came over after one of the balls didn't necessarily go your way, and you put your head down. You said, I can't tell everyone what you said, but daggone it, Dr. Wright. Daggone it, Dr. Wright, and welcome myself out of the top 10. And as we discussed, and I told you, recompose, reset, and walk yourself back in, and did that. And so, again, kudos to you, kudos to all of you. The program just continues to grow. I believe we were the only program in East Central Indiana that had a varsity and a JV program. The girls, I know they're not as represented tonight, but they have a ton of young ladies. The things that the parents and the community, it just is a great reflection what Richmond's all about. And so, again, congratulations. Young man, I know that you have to go back home after this year. But coaches, if any way we can hide his passport. Yes, I figured as much, just to make sure that he comes back. But no, congratulations to you as well. And I appreciate you being able to take advantage of so many opportunities while in Richmond Community Schools during your stay. And so, again, congratulations, parents. Give them the
Thank you for the support for these young men and the ladies as well. We've got the best parents a coach could ask for. Everybody's great. They're loud. If you've been to match, we appreciate you guys coming. I know some others were at the meet there at semi-state, and we were so busy I didn't get a chance to thank you, but I am thanking the entire bunch right now. We really appreciate all the support that we have been received upon this past few years.
Underclassmen down.
all the tall people in the back is what you
Yeah,
said.
underclassmen
Back
down.
together, Mike. That's right.
You know back here. You know back here.
All right. And I believe Attorney Cross has an introduction he'd like to make.
Yes, I do, Brandon. I know we talk about a lot of things at school board meetings and talk about education a lot. You recall we've used the term the brain drain, and that hasn't been a real positive term when we refer to our prestigious graduates who may or may not be back here. And I have with me tonight, and I think I sent you an announcement a couple weeks ago, that while his route wasn't direct, it's not the journey that counts, but the destination, and he is home. Next to me is Sam Garman, a member of the class of 1997. And I immediately was advised of that fact by several of you when I sent out my preliminary announcement. Sam's there, and he's with us. He's a graduate of Kalamazoo College, University of and Northeastern College of Law in Boston. And, he's been practicing in the Maryland area most recently. And we're here to get him loaded up.
I think the fact that he is a member of the class of 1997, I think that deserves so. The fact that he chose to come back home and serve like so many others in the class.
Yeah, welcome back to Richmond. Yeah, hopefully get settled in quickly.
Thank you. I will just say that to be doing something completely new, but also to be surrounded by friendly and familiar faces it's a lovely thing to have happen in my life. So thank you very much.
Welcome back.
So how many do we have right now at the table that are 97?
I'm 99.
3 now.
No.
Okay, so the 3 of you guys. Okay.
But we also have Mr. Walton, Ms. Walker.
Like Prince.
And my daughter.
Okay. All right. Just
We
wonder,
should do an official poll at some point,
just to see.
just to see who truly wins, like district-wide.
Well, thank you for contributing to that number.
Welcome home. All right. Next up, we have public commentary.
We have 7 this evening.
7, okay. For those who wish to comment at this evening's board meeting, the maximum time to speak is 5 minutes. Please keep your comments fact-based and within the time permitted. Comments are not to be personally directed or abusive. Comments recognizing the work of staff and students are always welcome. However, critical remarks concerning specific school personnel or students are to be made through the complaint process available in policy 9130. School board members do not respond to public comments during the meeting, but the board president will send you a personal follow-up email. Please state your name and address for speaking.
First up, we have Tammy Summit.
Hello, good evening, members of the board. My name is Tammy Summit, and I am here to represent the paraprofessionals of RCS. I appreciate the opportunity to address you regarding the recent snow emergency and its impact on our district's paraprofessionals. I am respectfully highlighting concerns that have arisen from the situation and to advocate for fair and equitable consideration of these valued staff members who play a vital role in supporting our students and school community. I now have a letter that I'm going to read that each one of you should have gotten. Dear Richmond Community School Board members, I am here tonight to respectfully request that the school board consider offering compensation to paraprofessionals who have missed a full week of pay due to recent weather-related school closures. Paraprofessionals go above and beyond each day to support teachers, students, and the overall functioning of our schools. They provide essential services both in and out of the classroom, often serving as a backbone of daily instruction and student support in applied skills classrooms. Especially paraprofessionals take on critical responsibilities included to, but not limited to, 1, supporting students with academic tasks and differentiated instruction. 2, assisting with behavioral management and de-escalating strategies. 3, supporting students with personal care and daily living skills. 4, implementing IEP accommodations and modifications. 5, supervising transitions, lunch, and community-based instruction. 6, maintaining student safety and dignity at all times. Despite the vital role paraprofessionals play, they are part of a small group of employees who are not given the opportunity to work remotely during school closures. This stands in contrast to STEM and library paraprofessionals who were permitted to work from home. Classroom teachers could have collaborated with paraprofessionals to identify meaningful tasks that could be completed remotely, such as preparing instructional materials, organizing data, creating visuals, and supporting e-learning lessons. The absence of this opportunity has left many paraprofessionals feeling overlooked and undervalued. The impact of losing a full week of pay is not minor. For many paraprofessionals, this loss could mean the difference between keeping housing, maintaining utilities, or having adequate food to feed their children. These are real and immediate consequences that have affected dedicated employees who are already planned to carefully around the scheduled unpaid breaks. It is my understanding that the district budget has already been set. If that is the case, I respectfully ask whether funds are available to support compensation to paraprofessionals affected by these closures. Planning for known unpaid breaks is difficult enough, but an act of God such as severe weather should not result in financial punishment to paraprofessionals. There has not been a full paycheck since Thanksgiving break, and this gap has been financially devastating for many families. If paraprofessionals are truly valued by the board, now is the time to demonstrate that appreciation through action. Fair consideration of compensation during unavoidable closures would send a powerful message to respect, equity, and support to those who have given so much to our students every day. Thank you for your time and consideration and continued service to our community and school. Respectfully, Richmond Community Schools paraprofessionals. Thank you.
Next, we have Emily Christian. Hi.
It's been a while, but I'm back. Oh, I'm pushing all the buttons. Sorry. I'm Emily Christian, RCS. I was trying to think, like, is there a position other than admin that I have not been in the district? I've been a para. I started as a para. I was a preschool instructor. I've been a CIS coordinator. I've been a para again, flipping it in there. Now I'm a kindergarten teacher, but by far my favorite position in RCS is parent. And you know what? I'm switching up what I was going to say because they got me onto the para pay. And so I'm going to go for pay for everybody. I'm switching up what I'm saying, so I'm not paying attention to what I'm putting on here. We have a big discrepancy in pay within our district. We have administrators who haven't really been here that long or doing a position that long who are getting paid more than 2 times the amount of a 20-year veteran teacher. And that's with a master's degree on our little chart that we have there. To me, that's ridiculous. I could go to any neighboring district and I could be paid a lot more, but y'all could be going to another district and get paid a lot less. That's a little upsetting to a lot of people. And I'll say the paras in my building, I'm sure it's the same across the board. They sat out during Snowmageddon and they were hungry. They were missing meals. They were needing more. And I, as a teacher, I would have happily had them help me get my videos done, get all this other stuff done. But I knew better than to ask them because I knew they weren't going to get paid. And I can't possibly ask them to do extra from what they get paid because I remember what it was like. So I'm going to say I'm hearing a lot about teachers getting riffed if they don't have all of the teaching credentials that they're supposed to have, all the licensure, all of the stuff that we have to have. And I hope that you're looking at admin in that same time. We have a lot of admin who do not have the credentials that they need to have either. It's admin here in this building, it's admin in counseling offices and other places throughout the buildings. If we're looking at that and we could make a lot more back by not paying those people who don't have their credentials, maybe we should look there first, especially the ones who don't ever see students in their day-to-day workday. I'm going back to my original, my plan. As a parent coming into RCS, it is my favorite part of being RCS. The day that my daughter turned 3, I got her signed up for preschool because that was where I had worked and I wanted her to be right there where I was. And I've been proud to be. I say, people back home say, you're a double now for real, aren't you? You pull that in full speed. But I'd say she's going to be a senior next year. And if she had the planning capabilities that her role models as a district have, I'd be upset if she came to me next year as a senior and said, oh, maybe I'll go to college. I'm not real sure where. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure how we're going to pay for it. I'm not sure what we're going to do, but I'll probably go to college. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from our strategic plan right now. And I'm thinking specifically of the closure of Hibbard. I have one more kid that is going through Logos, and he has specifically asked me if his program closes down, would I be willing to homeschool him? And no question, yes, I would absolutely do that. If his program's gone, in a heartbeat, because I'm here for my kids first. But I'm also thinking about all of the kids that are in my building, my Vale, that we get the shaft every single time when it comes to, well, we don't have time for this person to come, this person to come, this person to come. And as a teacher in Vale, we work hard to accommodate all of the needs of our students. But I don't think that we will be able to meet the needs, the educational needs of our high ability students and our applied skills students And I don't know what all is necessary for STEAM, but those people as well. We are not going to be able to meet the accommodations that everybody needs, and you need to be sure with your plan, thank you, that you meet everybody's educational needs.
Jaylee.
I didn't do anything.
Oh, you switched me up.
Sorry, I switched you up.
Oh my goodness. Good evening. Hey, I want to give a big shout out to Paris. Paris are the salt of the earth. My daughter's a parent. All right, she works over at Richmond High School in the applied skills, and yeah, they didn't get a paycheck. All right, and that's rough on them. And I salute because they are the backbones, one of the backbones that we have in our school system, and that's a hole. It really is, and we might have to try to find something to fix that. All right, I want to talk about RIFs real quick. I know that our great state legislature is giving us 0.2% pay increase next year, and that's causing a lot of stress on a lot of people. Okay, when we talk about those three ugly words, reduction in force. All right, that's ugly. Nobody wants to hear that, and I know you guys don't want to hear it either. But that's where we're at, and so what we're coming to is, and we've had this conversation with Dr. Wright and his team already. You know, what's the plan? We need to know this so we can help those people as best we can. What's the procedures, the protocols we're going to follow? You know, all those things, because I think we're down to 61 days left for seniors in their high school careers. So we got 61 days left before we get out of school. All right, something like that. Don't hold me to that thing. I didn't update my board today. We have been given reassurances that they're going to try to keep it as far away from the classroom as possible, and I hope that we can do that. You know, in a real good world, we would not even have a RIF, and the state house would fix their mess that they made, but that's on them. I want to talk about the strategic plan. Woo. Yeah. That tongue. As I read the document again, it's mentioned several times in there that the staff has participated and so forth, and that's half truth. All right. Phase one, we had 3 teachers involved in it out of 60 people, 59 people. 3 teachers were involved in phase one. In phase two, we had 6. We were given 5, and then I invited myself to be the 6th one, and Dr. Wright allowed me to be there. Thank you. To get in there. In that second phase, we had a meeting about an hour and a half with Mrs. Stone, and we gave us 10 minutes to read the document, and then the central office went through their spiel, and then we asked questions, and then the next day we had a survey. That's not really participating. All right, that's like here. Lip service. Yeah, you were there. But, you know, we had all kinds of questions. I know I filled out the survey, and I had all kinds of questions and comments and so forth. And I don't know where that went, but I didn't get any feedback on that. But, you know, as we get going now, I will say Dr. Wright has said that if this thing gets approved tonight, that we're going to wrap in, and we're going to be much more teacher input and so forth, and we're going to get included more. But, I don't know. I just think we should have been more involved in the beginning, and to get in there, because we're the ones that are out there with the parents. We're the ones out there that's in the classrooms. We're out there producing results for the community. We are nation builders. We build this community. Nobody else does. We are out there doing it, and by not giving us a voice, or a very small voice, I think that's kind of lacking, and we need to fix that. But we will. Appreciate everybody. Have a good evening.
Jacqueline Bartlemy.
Change it up.
Good evening. For anybody who is not, who does not know who I am, my name is Jacqueline Bartlome. I teach at Charles and Westview Elementaries, and I am the treasurer for Richmond Education Association. I am here today to speak to you about the workload facing our elementary educators. In the last few years, there has been what has felt like a very drastic increase in requirements for them on multiple levels. Each month, teachers are required to attend weekly Tuesday PDs, weekly cluster meetings in the mornings, weekly team planning meetings with coaches during their preps, RTI meetings, ACRs for students with IEPs, testing request meetings, behavior meetings, and any number of other meetings that may come up, such as meeting about PECs or MTSS. And some of our elementary classrooms have 25 or 26 students in them. And some of you who have your own children know that younger children require a lot more one-on-one time, a lot more guidance. It's quite the task, and it's quite the exhausting one. And some of these teachers that have 25 to 26 students in a classroom, more than 50% of those kids are on IEPs, tiers, or behavior plans. That is a large number of additional meetings for those teachers. Often these class sizes are also found in grades where iRead and iLearn are requirements by the state, which places additional pressure on those teachers, especially given the state's recent adjustments to the iRead passing requirements. Not to mention the new science and reading requirements for teachers that's requiring them to take additional coursework, additional praxis exams, etc. Now, please don't misunderstand. I don't know of any teachers in our district that do not want to improve themselves as educators or have the valuable discussions necessary with administrators and parents to do the best for our students. But elementary teachers are killing themselves every day to do the best they can with 15 to 26 growing minds in the classroom. Sorry. However, the number of requirements is ever growing. It feels impossible to find time to prepare materials and plans for students. We have asked on many occasions, both at the building and corporate levels, for administration to work with us in an attempt to quote unquote lighten the load, and nothing seems to give. Cluster meetings at the secondary levels typically seem to occur during the Tuesday PD time, 2 to 3 times a month, instead of at the start of the contract day once every week. Elementary students are losing possible instruction time during cluster meetings by spending up to the first 45 minutes of their day being supervised by adults that are not their regular classroom teacher. Yes, some of that time includes breakfast, but not all of it. Some buildings are able to provide para coverage so that students can be in their individual classrooms completing morning work, but not every building has the means to do that. Some of us do not. Some of the buildings do not have enough paraprofessionals for that type of coverage. So as a result, some of these students are sitting in the gym or the cafeteria for the first 45 minutes of their day, sometimes until after 8 o'clock in the morning. This is a loss of instructional time, and it's also a disruption to routine, which for some of our students can be a very big deal. Routine disruptions can make or break a whole day for some of these kids. We are just asking that conversations happen and some adjustments can be made to better provide a quality education for our students. Considering things like switching cluster to an every other week situation, or readjusting how cluster takes place. Teachers would love the opportunity to brainstorm different ideas and options and see something be adjusted so that we can do the best for our students and be the best teachers we can be. Thank you. Woo! Next we have Sarah Hazakoster.
Hello. So my name is Sarah Hazakoster, for those of you that don't know. I am the science teacher for the STEAM Academy. I'm also a parent of a current Logos student, as well as a Logos graduate, currently at high school. As a teacher in RCS for over 20 years, I have lived through the reconfiguration that forced me to move from Crestdale to Dennis. And then I lived through the reconfiguration that forced me to move from Dennis to Tust. And I'm here tonight to voice my concerns about the recommendation to decommission the Hibbert building before we have made plans for the 3 programs that currently use that facility. So the strategic plan report that you guys shared on January 14th includes a question and answer section, and question 16 asks, how will community pushback on changes be handled? And the answer includes, quote, is critical that the school board and administration educate the public on the components, the pros and cons of multifaceted decisions resulting from or defined by the strategic plan. And my hope is that decisions will be communicated in a transparent fashion, because I will echo what Jay says, that I don't know that staff has been involved. I don't know that parents have been that involved. And we're moving forward with decisions possibly tonight, or maybe it's just a recommendation to possibly do the recommendation, like the recommendation of the plan, and then is the recommendation to close later. I'm not sure. Because in the strategic plan published for tonight's meeting on page 10, it includes a section for the current school year that, quote, RCS administration provides the school board with a recommendation on the optimal locations for STEAM, logos, and applied skills programs in preparation for decommissioning Hibbard. But later on the same page, next year, quote, the administration will begin to collaborate with staff, parents, and students to prepare for the grade and program relocation in 27-28. So in the document, it says we haven't done this yet. We haven't collaborated. We haven't talked about it. We haven't answered these questions. As a STEAM teacher, I have had the privilege of establishing the program over the past 3 years. However, it's difficult to continue to develop the best program for my students when I'm unsure if they're going to be my students. Do we reach out and build relationships with community members during a lame duck school year? Will we be allowed to stay together as a program? Will we be divided among other buildings? These are the types of questions that have filled the teachers' and students' heads over the past day. And according to the strategic plan published tonight, those questions haven't even been considered. As a parent, I'm concerned that Logos is once again on the chopping block. It is a unique program that I have had the pleasure of watching first my daughter and now my son grow and flourish in a setting unlike any other. It is a tight-knit community that deserves to be maintained. Just today, an 8th grader wrote me a letter on behalf of my son explaining something about project group that I had questioned him on. And they signed it, quote, ask me if you have any more questions. So I would argue that the multi-age aspect of Logos program is unmatched. So in closing, I hope that the vote to close Hibbard will at least not be made until families and staff of Hibbard have been given some answers to some pretty basic questions. Thank you.
Steve Jones.
Steve Jones, the superintendent of Union County College Corner premier school district in the city. Hey, I never got a chance to truly thank all of you, but the people of Richmond. I was here, so I spent 6 years, 4 months here, and the last 3 years, 4 months was great. It was, I mean, the people at Charles are amazing. The guys in maintenance, if you don't get a chance to spend more time with them, you should, because it's awesome. But I just want to say thank you for just giving me an opportunity down here. I've moved down to better things, bigger things. I don't know what you want to call it, but loving life. It's keeping me busy, as Dr. Wright knows. So, but I just want to say thank you. But on the other note, and I know you guys got a big meeting ahead of you, and I don't want to take any more time. It's not that I don't want to be here, but I don't want to be here. But when you guys start looking at this, and this is more out this way, is that Hibbard is the building, and it's brick, it's mortar, it's the building. The program is the people, and the people make it. So to say that, oh, we closed down Hibbard, oh, this is going to stop, that's going to stop. No, but you know what? You got to have faith in that the decision can be made that those programs carry on because of the people. So keep that in mind as you guys go throughout the night. And once again, thank you. You guys have a good evening. Great to see you all. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Erica Pearson.
Hi, my name is Erica Pearson. I'm a retired teacher from the Richmond Community Schools. I taught here for 25 years, and I've been retired for about 5 years now. I also wanted to speak about the strategic plan. I think there are parts of it that are absolutely wonderful. So thank you for all the work and care that went into it. And I also noticed that between the December version and the one that is being voted on tonight, there's even more language about making sure that resources, time, people, and space are devoted to the children who need it most. And that's a really important part of it. So thank you very much for that emphasis. I also saw that in the plan about moving fifth grade back into elementary and preschool to Baxter, that there was strong support for those moves from both staff and community members in the survey that was done by ISBA back in January of 2025. Also, I really appreciate the thought that's going into making information about the budget and other things very accessible on the website in the future, so that the community can be really well informed and help the board in making decisions about what the community really wants and what the community needs for their children. I did have some questions about one part, and that is the part on community engagement. I really love the language about building trust among administration, board, and staff, that moving forward, all voices are heard, objectivity is encouraged, differing opinions are respected, and decisions are made in the best interest of all students. And in support of that, it's suggesting that an internal climate survey be made. I have concerns about the fact that the ownership of that would be the superintendent. And just because I know that for the same reason, putting the new director of marketing in charge of the external audit, in a way, the results of those audits are evaluations of the people who are in charge of the audits. And so that's kind of a conflict of interest. And there's also a problem of trust. And even when an audit or a survey is done by an outside agency, like back in 2022, ISTA gave a grant for a climate survey that also would talk about how much people felt belonging. And staff members were really concerned about answering questions in that. They were afraid that there would be personally identifiable information in it. And so they didn't feel that they could be really honest on it, or they refused to fill out the demographic questions on it. So just to be aware that if you want to get really good data to help you understand what needs to change and what's working well, you have to make sure that it's done by people who are not involved in being evaluated in any way by the results. And also I know that when I was a teacher at Charles, at one point I was part of the school improvement team. And we did an internal audit where we had all the children fill out paper surveys and asked all the parents to fill out surveys. And then when we got the results back, if there were results we felt uncomfortable with, we didn't like, we just sort of said, oh, well, you know, that couldn't possibly be right. And sort of stepped over it, because that's human nature. If you're working really hard and doing the best you can, it's really hard to hear that other people think that it could be done even better. So just something to think about as you vote on it and as you move forward with the position of a director of marketing and with internal and external audits. Thank you very much.
All right, we will move on to consent items, items 4.01 to 4.08. And the addendum, yes, sorry.
I move to approve the consent items as presented in addition to the addendums.
Second. That's a motion by member Stolz, a second by member Loriaga. Any questions, comments?
I have a question. I just noticed on the human resources this month that caught my eye, how many, the unpaid leave section, I guess, was large. And so I didn't know if Stephen, our HR director, would be willing to just comment? I mean, I know we can't specifically talk about any one person, but just why do we have so many unpaid leave requests and what that means or what we're seeing, I guess.
It's not still a thunder, yes, Mr. Hensley.
Sure. When we run the report, I usually bring January's leave days to February. But in January, there were some system issues, so we fixed it. So I reran the report. I brought them. Leave days are usually paid or unpaid simply. And when an employee exhausts their paid days, they move into what is unpaid deductible leave days. And so we have a process to go through for certified staff members when they do exhaust those. And that gets reported out to the board. So anyone contractual that exhausts their paid leave days, that's what comes to the board as a form of an unpaid deductible day. So there are a lot of reasons why an employee or an employee class of employees may maximize their days. Some employees, like our contractual, some of our custodial team, they begin on July 1. So their days stretch a little further into now, and they'll get new days July 1 of this year. Our certified teaching staff, they begin their contractual days in August, so they've exhausted their allotted leave days. And that's why we're into the deductible leave days at this point.
Do they have to have unpaid leave proved to be considered unpaid leave, or can they say that after the fact?
So they can after the fact. So what we have done is if they have an unplanned absence, they would there's a deductible leave form that we'd have to have signed at the building. In the event of an unplanned, unexplainable emergency, it's unlikely that it's going to do that form. So we do the form after the fact. What we prioritize is communication with the building principal so that the building can prepare, the kids are ready, we have a sub, and we do the form afterwards. When at all possible, if a staff member knows they're going to miss a day and they know they're in deductible leave, we do ask them to give it to the principal, have it pre-authorized, so that we are aware and that it comes to you.
Do we track what might be planned versus not planned?
No, we do not.
And are we seeing a rise in unpaid leave?
Yeah.
Okay.
Around this time, it's like cyclical. About this point, we do see the deductible leave start to begin to rise because for some reason, around the second, they've used their days, whoever they are. They've most likely used their days in the first semester, and they've maximized their paid deductible leave or paid leave. And so we enter into deductible leave in the semester 2.
So we have a contract, and in the contract it says you can have so many paid leave days, and these are people who've used those, and now we're just saying I want more day or I need more days for whatever reason, and I'll just take unpaid.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So are we seeing additionally, it sounds like we're seeing a rise by this point in the year, but are we seeing it from a rise from last year and previous years as well?
I haven't pulled the data to compare last year to this year, but I will. So I don't have the answer yet, but I can get it to you. What I would simply say is, if a staff member, this excludes things like FMLA or sick bank, bereavement. This doesn't count those days. But anytime paid leave is exhausted, we enter into the deductible leave. So that's where we are for some of our employees.
It just also to share, this is something that we here in RCS are not immune to, speaking with other superintendents and around the state and around the country. That's something that has been on the uptick since COVID. And we've been here lately.
Brent, could I ask you if you, before you vote, if you read the consent items just by title only, 4.01 through 4.08, since we're not supposed to refer to agenda items by number alone.
Yes, so we got item 4.01 is approval of minutes. 4.02 is human resources. 4.03 is accounts payable. 4.04 is monthly financial report. 4.05 is transfers. 4.06 is grants. 4.07 is a request to void outstanding checks. And 4.08 is technical correction of a temporary transfer plus the addendum. We had a motion by member Stoltz, a second by member Elwariaga. All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Moving on to action items. Item 5.01, donations.
Move to approve item 5.01, donations.
Second.
It's a motion by member Stoltz, a second by member Brunton. Any questions or comments? I think the total was $8,890. So thank you for that.
Very generous community.
All right, all those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 5.02, the RCS strategic plan. Do I have a motion to approve the RCS strategic plan for 2030 as presented? Sorry?
Speak first. Who's she going to speak?
You want?
That's fine, President Bryant and trustees. If the reference is that Mr. Stone presents a summation of the extensive work that's been going on, and then you all try to make them open as the request and will. Mr. Stone, welcome back.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a much shorter meeting for me. I have to watch my PowerPoint or anything. Okay, so I appreciate the opportunity to address you, before you make the official vote on the document itself. First off, I really want to congratulate you, the school board, the district, all the staff, the administration, teachers that were involved, community members that were involved. There were a lot of people involved in this process. I can legitimately, strongly say it is not any one person's plan or any one group's plan. It is really a great consolidation of what all of these different groups would like to see to improve outcomes for the students. The students were top of mind for doing it in all of the work that we had. And I think that personally, I think you've done a great job of putting that together. The process is long. It requires a lot of research, a lot of going back and saying, what happened when. We did a lot of data gathering, dreaming. But through the whole process, everyone has been extremely passionate about the district itself and the opportunities that are in front of you. So, and I don't always see that as a consultant working with organizations on strategic planning. You took it very seriously, and I appreciate that. And I think you will see once the, things have started to be implemented, you will see that impact on the students. So I just want to say congratulations on that. I also want to note, and some of the comments kind of led to this, that the plan is just a plan. It is a working document. There's a note at the very top that kind of addresses it, that it has, it's to help RCS make progress over the next 3 to 5 years. It provides time to research, gather data, brainstorm, and discuss the best options for the students. And that is built into the plan. The strategic plan does not hold the answers, but it holds steps to move forward and adjust as new information is available. So regarding Hibbert, that was a big one. People are very passionate about Hibbert, and that's great. No decision has been made as to where the programs will go, if they will move, and what will happen. The plan itself identifies that it is an important subject and something that needs to have a decision made, because you've been talking about it for quite some time, but it does not make the decision for you. It asks a lot of questions. It allows, as you have indicated, you want more information coming to you so that you can make the decision based on data and fact. So as we speak, that planning is being done to come to you with additional information so that you have what you need in order to make a decision. Part of that is talking to each of the, to more district teacher building level, I should say, staff, to bring them into the fold to really look at, how do we improve it? What can we do? Where do they go? All of the questions, a million questions. And of course, the biggie is, how much is it going to cost? And can we do it? And what is the most effective use of funds, limited funds, that the district has? So this is a working document. I just made a couple of notes. After what I hope is a majority vote this evening on the plan is really when the work begins. You've put in a lot of time right now, but it's nothing compared to what will be happening once the plan is approved. And that will be, I find, to be the fun part. Groups are already being formed and meetings have already started to happen to, by each of the imperative groups to really start digging in and trying to gather information and proceed with steps that they feel are appropriate in order to accomplish the goals. So things are already happening, which is very exciting. They are, from everything I have seen, the district staff as a whole has already started working on it. They're not waiting for you to vote so much as they want to get started. So that is always a good sign. But I caution you, strategic plans, there's a reason why it's from 2026 to 2030. This will not all be accomplished in 1 year. It takes time, and some things will take priority over others. As you go on, and some of the decisions are sort of like dominoes. If you do this, then that has to happen, that sort of thing. So allow the time for the decisions to be made and for action to be taken. Bottom line is you want to do what is best for the students. The goal is not speed through the strategic plan. The goal is to do it right, and to take into consideration a lot of information, a lot of inputs from data, people, community, teachers, staff, all sorts. So the work is just beginning, but the results will be positive, and hopefully you will move the mission forward. So that every student is equipped with knowledge, skills, and opportunities to fuel their lifelong learning, achievement, and purpose. Let's see if there was other. I think that was it. One other side note, one of the commentary mentioned something about the ownership of for the climate survey. But just ownership in general, I want to explain. There is someone who owns each one of the goals. That does not mean that person does the work. It just means that they will ensure that it is done. So for something like the climate survey, it does not mean that Dr. Wright is actually going to be the one taking opinions and all of that. It just means that he will ensure that it is done correctly, and that it actually happens. And it allows the board to have someone to hold accountable to make sure it is happening and things are moving forward. I think I addressed most of the comments. Any questions or things I can address for you?
Yes. So, not to put you on the spot, but how many people were involved as far as phase 2? Because I know, phase 1 you were not orchestrating and consulting with that, but
I did not actually count the people involved. I counted the hours spent. There was probably close to 150 hours of meetings with a variety of people. We had 3 retreats with building leaders. We had community meetings even in both phase 1 and phase 2. A lot of board meetings, as you know. I went to a fair amount of cabinet meetings and had one-on-one discussions with specific subject area experts. Sorry, I don't have the actual count.
No, that's all right. And then idea as far as timeline, when we started the phase 2 at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love for Dr. Wright to chime in as far as when we started phase 1 as well, just to get an overall view of what has gone into this so far. I guess that's kind of the question.
So phase 1 started in October of 2024. And I understand that there were 6 meetings with the larger community group of 60 some odd people. A lot of time was spent on vision mission, and talking about some imperatives and some values. That information was then taken into the phase 2 portion, which started in June. And then we had, I think in total there were about 7 different drafts of the actual document. And we didn't even start putting pen to paper on the actual document until September, because we spent June, July, August, and part of September, actually a lot of September, putting things together. And then we went through, once we had the drafts, we went out to various groups to see what their reactions were, and what we were missing. We got a lot of really great feedback through surveys and meetings. And then we were supposed to vote in January, but the board requested a little bit more time. And so we're voting tonight. Or you're voting tonight.
I guess I asked that just because as a board member, having been involved since October of 2024.
Yes.
It feels like we've been doing this for a really long time and that we have connected with a lot of people, but hearing from public commentary, that's not the perception and the feel from other people. That does, it causes concern, but I also, I do know that there has been a lot of involvement, again, but that might maybe that's just my perception.
Well, if I understand correctly, the concern was primarily about teachers not having a say. And I would say the involvement of the building level administrators and even cabinet and such, they're all teachers. They may not be in the class today, but they have been a teacher before. They are still certified. They've gone on to get their masters. They've applied for these jobs that actually have responsibilities where groups of teachers are reporting to them. It is impossible when you're doing a strategic plan to talk to every single person in an organization. So we chose to rely on the expertise of the people in those positions to represent the schools and the people for whom they are responsible.
And I do appreciate that you pointed out what was garnered and gleaned from phase one was that data was aggregated and used for part of phase two. I also know the first time I did the strategic plan process, when I first stepped on the board 7 years ago, it was a lot shorter, a lot less involved as far as gathering information from outside the 7 members. So I guess I felt personally like we've done the due diligence, and so I, feeling good about that, but then, feeling like, wait a minute, I did have one letter that I wanted to read from a member of the community representative of the community, Jason Blanc, wrote to both Kristen and I, and wanted this to be shared. He said, I can't make the school board meeting tonight due to work commitments. However, I did want to reach out. I'm grateful that RCS has worked to broadly engage representatives from the community in building an updated strategic plan. I'm also encouraged by the focus on actions and how impact will be measured. Like other parents, I have questions, concerns, and I look forward to further discussion on specific changes that may result from the strategic plan. Some of the specifics in the plan may even feel in conflict with others at first glance. My guess is there isn't a perfect solution and that finding a good solution is complicated due to cost. I look forward to opportunities to engage in the ongoing conversations that make RCS the best possible for today's students, Jason. And so what I'm hearing from him, what I'm hearing from you, what I want to point out and say is that I would love for us to continue the conversation. I love the ongoing staff involvement, community involvement, and I guess I want to just say, let's do that. Let's keep doing that. So, yep. Others?
I would just want to clarify that a vote for this plan tonight means I'm approving this working document.
Yes, it does not.
Working document we are going to review quarterly, and as a board we are charging Dr. Wright to. And we're hearing that more teacher needs, need to be involved in, where we go from here, and that we're approving the document that we are going to be changing and adjusting. So it's not set in stone. Every quarter we're going to look at it, and we will probably adjust as we get information from teachers, from staff, from the community, toward from Mrs. Scow for our budget, what we can do. So I just wanted to clarify that for myself.
Yes.
Also wanting to clarify, just it has again. Hearing from constituents, the things that are the concerns, we are not closing the Hibbard building. There have been no decisions that have been made to that effect. Again,
Mr. Jones said it very well. Hibbert is a building. The programs are people. That Hibbert building has been identified as a high need, high cost building as far as reparations that need to be made. And so it makes sense for our district, financially speaking, to look at other options for housing those people. Those programs, right?
Yes.
Again, thinking of the people being the programs. So again, I feel like we need to be fiscally responsible and look at other options. So I love logos. I was a logos teacher, a logos mom. Yeah, not thinking that or STEAM or applied skills. Yeah. So just want to clarify.
That is correct. Those,
Yes.
there has not been any decision on
Yes.
where those programs would go, what would happen.
Yep.
None of that. You're in the just looking at options phase.
Want to state that.
I too would just like to commend you all as a board. I know that for more than roughly 25 years in the world of education and being a part of strategic planning in the past and different tenures of service. The fact that after strategic planning process phase 1, as a board, you all made the conscious decision to want to extend a little more time and a little more focus on what came out of phase 1, which is then when we were introduced and had the services of the stone. But throughout the course of the last 2 years, as was echoed, there's been a lot of discovery. Not only amongst us all as a governing body or as our leadership teams, faculty, staff, students, and stakeholders. But as we move through this, and if it is to be the will of the board, after the plan is passed, the true work is. And when you think about our strategic imperatives, student achievement, financial longevity, building for the future, leadership and governance, community engagement, amongst all those imperatives will be working groups. Our teams, what Ms. Stone alluded to, have already started to prepare as to which faculty, staff, stakeholders, even students will be joining us for those working groups per imperative. It's going to be in those engaging experiences and sessions that more is going to be fleshed out and discovered. And I think it was alluded to by Mrs. Brunton that with such fact finding, with such discovery, the plan will be what it's intended to be, which is a working document for progress. And so the excitement does start forward the board approved. And the goal early on is going to be to tamp down some of the anxiety that comes with this phase of the process. But most importantly, I think as Superintendent Jones just alluded to, just trusting in the process, and more importantly, trusting in the fact that as a community, we all move this work together.
Other questions, comments? Right.
I have a couple.
Go ahead.
So I mean, it's similar to some of the questions and being slightly conflicted on, so much work has gone into this. I do know we have, heard about teachers not having input, community members, and that is just always worrisome. When we see it, I fully understand that it is hard at a certain stage to be able to get all of those voices in. So I think it's important to say like the work that everyone has done is, far enough. There are things that are so great in this plan that I really appreciate, and I think it's really going to move the needle. So, that is hard when I look through. I don't necessarily agree with how some of the process was, but that's just me. That doesn't mean that the process didn't work by any means. It's just voicing my opinion. And I do still think as a board, it's just something I want us to be aware because and part of this is not Bruce's fault or Steve Horton. It's sort of like who owns the strategic plan, and it is everyone, has a part in it. But I do think, if this passes, the conversation that we need to have as a board is okay, the accountability piece, how are we do have to move forward. how are we going to stay abreast of what's going on? What questions are we going to be asking? And making sure that communication, like we are open with what we are expecting, the feedback. So, you know, if this does pass, I just want to make that clear. And I think we're all on that same page. And, you know, this plan is our priority to move things forward. So, and that would be really important to me. And, you know, some of the things in it, like we were talking, additional positions, that's hard. I do understand we talked about it being like a living, breathing document. But it is hard when we approve something that's got, hey, we want a marketing director, just to have an example of, you know, that's almost like, hey, they said we get a marketing director. That still needs to be an approval down the line, but it does still give me pause when we have some financial issues. And so those are just my thoughts on it. Like I said, I think we all take it seriously when we have heard the feedback about people not feeling included and not having those answers. And I completely understand as a parent because you want everything answered immediately. About conversations that have happened or not happened, or maybe it's more about those conversations haven't even happened. But I think we need to be better with communication, especially like moving forward. So
I would also just echo all what the speaker mentioned. As we move forward, one of the things that we will be presenting to you all each board meeting are the accomplishments as well as even some of those challenges that we are experiencing as not only a central office leadership team, but our building level leaders and our faculty, staff, our teachers and students will definitely be presenting such information. And then also, what's also found in board docs, and I know it's available to the public, Mr. Stowe has provided a strategic plan summary report that has questions and answers, so as to share with our community, for example, what is the strategic plan, what's the strategic planning process, what isn't a strategic plan. And so I encourage all of us to revisit, and the community to revisit that report for additional clarification and hopefully comfort in the fact that, to Ms. Pickering's point, we want to make sure that everything is inclusive, collective, and moving in the direction of student outcomes and student achievement.
Anything else? All right, do we have a motion to approve the RCS strategic plan for 2026 to 2023?
So moved.
So motion by member Stoltz.
Second.
Second by member Brunton. All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Vote passes 5-1. Item 5.03, RHS Devilette overnight field trip request.
Move to approve item 5.03, RHS Devilette overnight field trip request.
Second. Motion by member Stoltz, second by member Eloriaga. Any questions or comments? All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 5.04, BPA overnight field trip.
Move to approve item 5.04 BP overnight field trip as presented.
Motion by member Pickering, second by member Eloriaga. Any questions or comments? All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 5.05, bid award for RHS classroom reconfiguration. You have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by member Stoltz, second by member Eloriaga. Any questions or comments?
And this bid is for the 6 classrooms at RHS, correct? To make them ADA compliant with them.
And did I read that this work will happen over the summer, right?
This
To
will
be
be,
completed by August 1st.
that's definitely the goal. I believe that is the, I believe the fall. I'm looking at, yeah, that's right. Mr. Scout, if you don't mind joining us, I'm not sure if there is one that in reference to.
Yes, so the work, actually, they're gonna try to get started as quickly as they can in the areas that do not have any, effect on the current, student body and staff. And that's just like cleanup and moving things that can be moved out and get ready. So, that actually, I heard has already started a little bit with some boxing up of things and just cleaning some areas. And then with that, the work will be done this summer. The goal is to have it done before the August 1 time frame. That as things get through this bid award, they'll have a post bid, and then all of that will be defined even more clearly. But that is the goal. It is possibly in phases just due to some of the work that has to be done. But the goal is to have as much of that done and ready to go for the next school year as possible.
And this affects applied skills only, correct?
Yes, the first portion for sure.
The work will begin, as mentioned, students last day.
Yes.
Some of the
Yeah,
preliminary work is already.
technically, the work is still going on to get radio TV moved, and so that is happening now. And that is kind of that first part that then opens up that area for them to be able to get moving. So the next part. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Scout.
Okay, all those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 5.06, bid award for the RHS Career Center restroom renovation. We have a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by member Brunton, second by member Stoltz. Any questions or comments?
I just wanted to say I don't know, I'm super excited about these bathrooms. I mean, just from when I was in high school, they have not changed. They haven't. They've just been down there. Like I don't know what it is. It just
I would second that.
like I don't know what it is.
So, never been excited about a bathroom in malls.
We'll take a photograph once it's done.
All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 5.07, a bid award for RHS secure entrance. We have a motion to approve as presented. Make a motion.
Second.
So a motion by member Loriaga, second by member Stoltz. Questions or comments?
Yeah, I thought we should probably talk
Yeah.
about, just Kristen sent pictures from our visit and, one of the concerns with the aesthetics, just wanting to maintain, just, it's a beautiful entrance with the brick and with, just the red glass. And, I feel like your pictures showed a lot of those as well. Sam, I know you were interested in preserving that as well. So if that is the will of the board, I think that needs to be communicated. Kevin, are you hearing this? I guess my question is, what are the plans? If you could just let us know what's
Mr. Kevin McCurdy, welcome back.
as of now.
Always a pleasure. I shared with Ms. Brum the plans, so there is actually something being built in front of that.
Mm-hmm.
And as I
And
shared,
Mrs. Wolpe explained that, but she didn't know exactly
correct.
what it would look
It's more of a wood trim aesthetic that kind of higher end with some depth and some detail to it, and it actually follows the profile like the classroom above. So in fairness, you will not see what's beyond that. But that was intentional from a security standpoint. Part of the concern that we're trying to solve is if there's one or two people potentially at that desk and there was an event occurring, where do they go? Because they're kind of in the middle of a space right now with no opportunity to hide, get out of sight if something were to be occurring in that space. As I shared, we could potentially look at some other options to open the view shed up, but at this point, it would be asking for a change to the project, but that we can follow up with that and talk through that in more detail.
Are there any renderings, like maybe we could see just to feel, or just to see if we're comfortable with?
There is, and I'd be happy to share
Okay.
those. I did not bring those. I did bring a copy of the plan to look at, so I can share that out with the board.
I think there may be some options, having talked to Kevin and seen, I mean, obviously we want it to be secure and probably a full glass bulletproof is gonna be way too much money, but it maybe worth looking at, but there is an area above maybe where the wood is going to be, where it could be glass, that's a much smaller impact, but that would still make the entrance feel inviting and still be, I mean, the number one priority is for safety, clearly for students, but we want things to look nice as well. We want it all.
And that's always the case. And the good news is there's always multiple ways to solve the problem. So I think we can follow up and have that conversation. I can think of at least 3 pretty off the top of my head without even sitting down and talking with you all. So we can follow up. So I think if you were to move ahead, what I would suggest is then we would just follow up, and that would be again a change. And in fairness, I'm not even sure we necessarily add, because that assembly, we've got some stuff in that wall to protect someone on the other side. So it's probably trading this for that. So that's where I think looking at other options may not even affect the budget. It would just be a change to how they're doing it. Now would be the time before they start doing that work. So
Yeah, I just think it's one of those, like I love finding unique things behind walls or whatever it is. And it would be, it's just like a heritage type of thing,
and again, it's just the
in
balance.
50 years when this building is still standing, it, like covering that up. So yeah, I would like to just see what other options or a variation is.
And
just looking at the picture. So.
And I think the starting point would be I'll show you what it's looking like now, and then we can talk from there. So.
Yeah, because I can't picture either like what we were looking at, but I know when we talked about moving it down to this area, like it really was about that whole space, and what that brings like when you walk into it. So.
And again, it's not just like a drywall wall. It was trying to fit in the aesthetic. So, but yes, we'll send that along, and then we can follow up to that conversation.
Appreciate your flexibility in this process is kind of what you described, I think a year or two ago during the working session of how, ideas come, we kind of went there, we visited, we kind of saw, we felt, we met with Ray figured out with her staff what works best, and we're still giving input and changing and adjusting, and that's kind of how I see the strategic plan, just to make that parallel for a minute of just the same thing as we get new information in, it kind of changes how we see things. Or the money, you may come back and say, this is going to be 20,000 more, and we're like, forget it. And this is just this process of working through. So I appreciate that.
No problem. And I would reiterate that we did spend a lot of time with Ray and staff ensuring that this solved the problem of how do they meet with parents, how do they interact with students, and kind of having a more intentional front door to the high school.
She was very excited about the setup, I would say, and our only concern was, okay, but what about the aesthetics?
Absolutely.
What are we saying? So
we will share that and move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item number 5.08, resolution number 2026-4, declaring a contractor default, terminating contract and directing notification thereof to the surety on contractor's performance bond.
I move to approve 5.08 resolution number 2026-4 declaring a contractor default.
I second that. So motion by member Pickering and second by member Eloriaga.
As I've explained, I think in the emails, a couple of you had questions as to what does the puzzle look like, of which this is a piece. The job has been problematic. I'm not telling you something you didn't already know. Substantial completion was originally scheduled to be July 1, 2025. For many reasons, several reasons, that did not occur. We have determined that at this point, it's appropriate to put the contractor's performance bonding company on notice of the problems. Did that in June of this 25. I gave the initial notice saying the board was considering doing this. I think we continue to work with the contractor in the hope that we can work through some of these issues. And probably some of them we did, but it's kind of like if you ever broke a thermometer in your grandfather's farm and whatever it is, mercury came out and you put your finger on a bead and that pops eight. Well, it's almost like that. So this is the next step in the process of getting the bonding company on notice for our potential claim. Let's say it's a perfected claim. And the next step will then be for provision of very detailed notes, really a library that LWC has prepared, the documents, the attempted performance of the work from the start to where we presently are. Next steps will involve then ascertaining as best we can from inspections now what the scope of the work is required to be identified and bid or quoted in an attempt to effect the repair. We will be engaged probably a lot more closely than we ever have been with a bonding company because they will be involved. Really, they should be here on a regular basis. So that's what this is about. And I would ask, because it's recited in your resolution, that this is not only the recommendation of your legal counsel, but it's joined in by the administration, and that would have been Mr. Mops most immediately as Director of Operations. He's out. Ms. Gallup has been living with this project more than she ever wanted to admit. And Mr. Kevin Curdy from the LWC, I would ask that they at least acknowledge that they concur with this recommended resolution.
Mr. Scout, Mr. McCurdy, if you all don't mind joining us yet again at the podium to provide concurrence, maybe more insight, if necessary, or something you heard.
I concur.
I also concur.
I mean, I think the reality is we've been doing some walks of some buildings, and what we heard in our most recent visit was we have leaks where we did not have leaks even prior to this project. And I think that's hard to hear after spending the better part of 2 years trying to get this corrected and in a place that, again, for the amount of funds invested, we would all feel good about this as a solution for the next 20 years. So that was tough to hear because that was just last week with all this snow melting off. And seeing plastic and the impact of students and teachers and administrators in these buildings is disappointing at this point in the process. So.
And hopefully then the direct contacts to the board will end soon, but if they don't, unless and until their attorney gets engaged and makes those direct contacts, there's really not much I can do about that. It's not a very appropriate way to do business, but as I said in the email, my advice is consider the source attitude toward those, and we will deal with those issues. Some of which I'm sure are substantive we're going to deal with. I mean, this is not a rubber stamp proposition, but it is a commencement of, by all intents and purposes, litigation. It's always tough in litigation to deal with insurance companies. Bonding companies and sureties are like insurance companies on steroids. So they're not an easy adversary, and we'll handle it as we have to.
And I will say again, this is like the worst case scenario in my world. We try to do everything we can to avoid this. I think where we're at is there's been the number of iterations trying to get this to a point to avoid this where we're at now. We're just not quite sure what else to do, unfortunately, just because we can't seem to bring it to resolution. So, and like I said, in spite of all the fixes continuing to have leaks, it's just, you don't even know what question to ask next when you ask repeatedly to get those things fixed and still have not just the same, but more. So it's just where we're at, unfortunately. Questions?
Thanks for your patience and perseverance with this problem. So,
At the end of the day, you should get what you paid for, so that's what we're trying to ensure.
that's too bad.
All right, all those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 5.09, the RCS Fairview Tower Restoration Agreement. To approve 5.09.
I'll second.
Motion by member Oriaga, second by member Stoltz. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 5.10, non-certified staff salary increase. This would be to provide a 2% salary increase retroactive to the start of the school year. For all of our non-certified staff.
I move that we approve item 5.10, non-certified staff salary increase.
Motion by member Stoltz, a second by member Oriaga. Any questions or comments?
This even would like to extend our sincere appreciation for the patience of our non-certified staff. Because again, those non-certified staff are made up of maintenance, custodial, secretary, technology, our SLPs, OTs, paraprofessionals, aid specialists, admin assistants, custodians, interpreters. There's a list of individuals that really are like that of the glue that keeps us all together. So this is a total of our appreciation. We will come back later this fall with collective bargaining to potentially visit other options depending upon what is important to us today.
Wait, Mr.
Yeah, it's like point of clarification, it excludes administrators and it excludes substitute teachers. They are not included for a 2% salary increase. And the that retro pay applies to contractual employees.
The other note is that this does include Head Start, and the salary schedules for that group of employees will be updated. They are in a group in the total, but it doesn't specify Head Start on the memorandum because they are a part of the schedules. So we just wanted to make sure that that was understood for members of our public that might be listening. I have a comment. I know, but in response to what I'm gonna say, I think, I know it's hard for our employees, but we're bargaining, and it's always, we have to get through that first to then, address these things. But I think I would like to get to a point where, in my world, you do increases there between January and February, right? Or June and July, so employees, they're not always guaranteed, but you come to a point, and let's say after collective bargaining, okay, we're looking at yours, but we're also sort of looking at all of this at the same time, which I know you guys do, but I think sometimes it comes across as they might not know that this is coming because we might not know, but it's trying to make just more of that schedule of if we're going to do increases. Here's the day we need to try to make a decision by. Here's when you may see that. Because I think for the employees that is helpful. I think for the board, but I think that's something that we could probably build in with the strategic plan as we look at budget and finance and asking that question, right? We're going for collective bargaining again this year. That's what's holding, because I know we don't really talk about any other increases until after that necessarily, but I think those conversations should be had to be able to kind of communicate that out. It's the retro piece, sorry, drives me crazy. I know it's an education thing, but it'd be nice, like, and I know, Tommy, you could never do that at the beginning of the school year. Like, it just wouldn't happen, but maybe closer to the end of the year and not all the way till February. So hopefully that made sense. I just think, like, with the strategic plan, it's something that we might be able to just flush that out with Mr. Hensley on, like, hey, like let's keep this in the back of our mind so we know, because sometimes this comes up and I know we ask sometimes, like, hey, what about this group, or is this a thought? But it should be something I think we know sooner in the process of who we're getting increases to, if that makes sense.
All those in favor?
I did have one other, in light of the letter that we received and from the paraprofessionals, and what was read to us earlier. So obviously this would be a raise, a 2% raise for those individuals. But I thought now might be a good time to just talk about, they were asking for that week of pay due to weather-related school closures. And so what is the past precedent, I guess, I want to know. What options would we have? I don't know if ghost employment is an issue, like, is that something that we'd have to take into consideration? So I guess this is Dr. Wright, Ron, whoever wants to, what would that look like?
In short, as you questioned, I can't necessarily speak to past precedent.
Okay.
As clearly, of course, there's things that have been mentioned, but I know that right now we're looking to explore is whether or not we could potentially compensate those educators. I know that there were paraprofessionals that had an opportunity to come in after hours once we had gotten back and out of the inclement weather and the snowstorm that we received to try and recoup such funding. But we are currently right now in not only legal guidance but also just some responses as to whether or not, given the fact that as was mentioned in the correspondence, as was mentioned earlier this evening, this was totally out of all of our controls and out of the paraprofessional control. I think the beauty of, if there was a silver lining to the multitude of snow that we received, is that for the first time in Richmond Community Schools history, kindergarten through 12th grade, we had 3 relatively successful days of synchronous instruction. And so moving forward, and that is a monumental feat compared to where we were. And knowing that we have that as a tool moving down the road if we come upon it from the weather, or if there's another historic pandemic, to know that we'll be able to consistently serve our students and their student outcomes. However, it doesn't speak to where we found ourselves a few weeks ago. So we're exploring some options to find out if we can legally compensate and or provide opportunities for those paraprofessionals to try and recoup and earn some of those lost funds. Because as was echoed, we totally understand, and if it was left up to all of us, I think we know personally what we would do. Professionally, we're just trying to make sure that we be clear to carry out things that.
Yeah. And I'd be curious, are there other groups that also, besides paraprofessionals, that didn't come in and get paid also? Is that only, that'd be my question. You may not have the answer to that, which is fine, but I'm just curious how it affected other employees of ours.
I think down the road, and that's a great question. And I can refer back to my previous tenure of service during COVID, and during that historic pandemic, we provided all faculty and staff, whether it be classroom teachers and or paraprofessionals, certified and uncertified. We provided them with the technology so as to continue to provide those services virtually. And so, for example, in Mr. Loriaga's mathematics class, as a paraprofessional, I can virtually log in as he is as with the class and still support those same students that I would if I was a paraprofessional in a live setting. And so I think with the success that we found, with the courage that we as a corporation and as a community, I'd like to commend the parents and guardians and all the students who've found synchronous learning fun during the time of, I think it was called Snowmageddon. Is that the term used? But I think moving forward.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, are there custodians, are there secretaries, are there other employees we have that also are experiencing with the paraprofessionals? That would be my question to look at.
And I'll get the.
So I want to just make sure we're there with and we look at everyone who is affected by this.
And I think it would be beneficial, like talking to the building level leaders of, okay, if this happens again. I mean, we've had a couple bad winters, right? I think last year we had that extended week after Christmas break. You know, hey, here's what, you know, this teacher needs help. Like, can you know, log on and support? I know, especially like elementary, having a little kid, you know, my kids' teachers, like they're sitting there online all day trying to help individual kids. So, you know, talking to the principals, where can we, you know, plug people in to like give breaks to the teachers that are just sitting there all day, not knowing when kids are going to come in and out. There could be other help that they can't do around the district. I mean, I think everything's kind of shut down, but I'd just be interested to know. And maybe it is sort of a building level, they kind of help manage. Like, we want to, here are the opportunities to make sure that, you know, we're paying you, you can dive in to this, or this, you can choose whatever it is, just having something that, and some might not want to. Like, that's why it's, some might just be like, no, I'm good.
And when we experience that from time to time as well.
Let me suggest that you might want to consider some approaches. I think to directly try to answer Member Stoltz's question. Is there a mechanism to do that now for the last? The answer is no, not comfortably. I think what I would suggest is that the board adopt a policy that refers to what, for want of a better term, calamity days when there's closure, and give the administration the opportunity to, in those situations, identify situations such as what we've experienced here, bring to the board a recommendation, and it may be one to, I mean, it would not be unlimited. I'm not going to say this is unprecedented. It's just unprecedented in any of our memories, and that's more of an indictment of me than anybody else. But,
You've been here a bit.
But in any event, I think that would give you the vehicle. If you wanted to push the envelope a little bit, we could have retroactivity of that calamity days to give some partial relief to those folks that are paraprofessionals. That is probably something I can identify, I can defend if we get deemed by the State Board of Accounts. But it's, again, I say it's a little bit more aggressive approach. But I think the first step would be to adopt a policy of sorts that would refer to the ability to make whole employees whose absences are due to closures that cannot be predicted, that are not due to their own failures, the act or omissions. So that's a suggestion I would make. I'm not exactly sure of the scope of what was intended to be addressed in the Para's letter. It's necessarily satisfied with that approach, but I think Dr. Wright and I can talk, and we can probably get something in front of you by the next meeting, because that's a month from now.
I would definitely be in support of that. That we adopt some type of policy.
I think you got the policy. I think you have the discretion. I think you can. I can list very valid management reasons, whether it's maintaining morale of the employees, maintaining a total scope of services, because these folks, as has been appropriately alluded to tonight, are important. And if they're not there, their absence is missed. So I think we can do that. And then, if you're feeling as if you're feeling lucky, then you can try to make it retroactive to this and that, and we'll go from there.
But the beauty is that legal counsel states that there's courage to put forth a fight, and so I appreciate that always from Attorney Cross. But just to also add to such consideration, and I'd be remiss if I didn't speak on behalf and advocate champion for those paraprofessionals and non-certified staff members that I've met with over the course of my time in this seat, just most recently, spring of last year, sitting down with paraprofessionals, and it was mentioned, and if you rehash the memorandum letter that you all received, our paraprofessional and non-certified staff also are not compensated on 2-hour delay schedules. They also are not compensated in all times in which students are out. And as was mentioned, that's not their fault. However, again, this is also something that is not immune to just Richmond Community Schools. This occurs throughout state, throughout country, with such classifications and impositions. But again, as was mentioned, these individuals and classroom teachers, certified teachers will tell you, and as a classroom teacher, are always at heart. A lot of the work that is done by paraprofessionals is very not nice.
Thank you.
Nothing else. All right, all those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Right, moving on to policy review. The first policy, we have policy 0144.1. It's a revised policy for compensation. It's first reading.
I move to move policy 0144.1 to second reading.
Second. It's a motion by member Stoltz and a second by member Elroy. Any questions or comments?
Yes. So this came to policy meeting, this last policy meeting, and because Senate Bill 287 modified the annual limit that school board members could receive, this created changes or possibility of changes. So what was discussed at the policy meeting was school board members currently or before July to be compensated $2,000. Now that is being changed to not to exceed 10% of the lowest starting salary of a teacher employed by Richmond schools, which is around 47,000. So that would change compensation. I think we're all on the same page that the school corporation is in a budget cut and we don't want more money. But we do need to stay up with policy. And so it's suggested to add this section that's in green that does say that we can get up to 10%, not to exceed 10%, but that we would then vote in a resolution to keep it at 2,000. So then we're staying up with policy, but we are also acknowledging the modification. A couple things. I mean, I just looked at, and just for information, the average school board salary in Indiana is around $3,400. We're at 2,000. Across the country, it's anywhere from 0 to 50,000. So it varies quite a bit. Colorado, sorry, Kim, they're right up there. Okay, well, we've been at 2,000 for, I don't know, a long time, but I think we have no intentions, it's my understanding of increasing. The policy committee meeting, we discussed those present. I just want to make sure we were all on the same page that we want to say we're not taking a raise. We are changing the language to follow Senate Bill 287. The lower section, so basically this entire section on compensation just would replace our section B on our current policy. Everything else in our current policy would stay the same. This is just all section B. There is some additions and questions during policy where, like the mileage for a conference, those things worked in our previous, and we discussed, what do teachers get? What do, we don't want to be, and so this follows in line with those things. So it is just a modification following some law changes. That means that if, you know, we would eventually approve this, I know this is just at first reading, then we would need a resolution kind of determining our salary every year.
Because didn't we just change that 2 years ago to follow? Because it hadn't changed forever. Around you bringing that up. And we were like, well, let's change it so we don't have to keep coming back. But it makes sense now.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think what the modification does is incorporates the formula, so you don't, you know, and then your resolution confirms the extent to which you will apply the formula in the next contract.
Right.
Correct. Contract years, and that's fine. That works.
Okay. So just to reiterate, we're going to, the board is going to be we wish to stay at the $2,000 and not take the maximum which is allowed by the new law. That's it.
Okay. All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 6.02 is policy 0167.2. It's a revised policy on executive sessions in its first reading.
I'll move to move policy 0167.2 to second reading.
Second. That is a motion by member Stoltz, a second by member Eloriaga. Questions or comments on this policy?
This came before the policy meeting. This are amends changes because of House and Ruled Act 1134, which was effective July 1st for the open door law. So that just adds some additional reasons that we can have executive sessions, meets those requirements.
All right, all those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 6.03 is policy 3131, reduction in force and certified staff, first reading. We have a motion to move.
I make the motion that we move policy 3131 to first reading.
Oh,
I'm sorry, second reading.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by member Brunton, a second by member Pickering. Any questions or comments?
So this was brought to the policy meeting. The changes were recommendations from our director of HR. Quite a bit of it moves policy, some of this policy to administrative guidelines. It does add a section on reduction in force notification, which is something we heard about tonight. I did find a spelling mistake at the end that I just found. So the reduction in force in green.
Oh, I see it.
Yes. So I just saw that. I've read over it so many times. This is the first time I've seen that. So
Education.
yes.
As the teacher.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor vote by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 6.04 is policy 3231. It's a revised policy on outside activities of staff in its first reading.
I move to move policy 3231 to second reading.
Second. That is a motion by member Stoltz, a second by member Eloriaga. Any questions or comments?
This came before the policy meeting this last month. We discussed the one major, not major, but a small change is in section E that adds that we've always had the staff members may not accept fees for tutoring students currently enrolled in one or more of their classes. But we're adding to that in the same subject that they are teaching the student in while the student is enrolled in their class. So that kind of opens it up, I think, more to teachers being able to tutor. So you can tutor someone in your class, but not if you're tutoring them in the subject that they're enrolled in class in.
So how does that affect like elementary teachers?
So an elementary student who is being paid, who a student in their class is struggling and the parent says, hey, can I pay you to tutor? Then the answer is no, because you teach reading and math, unless the student says, I want you to give me flute lessons and I'm not in your class for flute. So it kind of gives some leeway. Before it meant they couldn't tutor them in anything while enrolled in their class. So now they can, as long as the subject isn't. I mean, the idea is that, teachers, and we know they're working hard to meet the needs of students in the classroom, and those needs need to be met with, school resources and not be paid for that. Yes.
But this gives more flexibility.
It gives more flexibility for teachers who want to do tutoring outside and get paid for it, yes.
I guess I have one question I would have is, as a parent, I feel most comfortable with my student in their being with their teacher. So if that teacher is outside of contract time, let's say, and I want them to give additional, education, teaching, whatever to the student, why is that not okay? That doesn't.
For me, as an
it's
educator, it's a conflict of interest, because am I giving everything that I can give during the class time that I'm not? Why can't we do this? It's just a conflict.
So I'm just saying, like, put a fair, just use that example, like a Fairview elementary school teacher tutor a kid at Charles.
Yes.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Simplifying, I'm simplifying it. But at the same time, though, I'm kind of sitting there thinking to myself, like, there's a relationship between that student and that teacher, and that student works better with that teacher.
I've got concerns too about putting limitations on somebody that's outside of contract. I'm putting limitations on what they can do to earn money.
Right. Getting it done.
So as to not steal his thunder, and I won't necessarily ask Mr. Hensley to join the conversation here at the podium until that's necessary, but I think of what People Broughton is referencing is the term differentiation within the educational realm and space is centered around providing those tailor-made services for Curtis Wright. As Curtis's teacher, Mr. Brand, is going to differentiate to meet Curtis's everyday need, no matter what those needs may be. If there's remedial, I think that's the term that I would really speaks to this. If there's remedial services that are rendered after hours by Mr. Brand to Curtis's parents may question, well, while Curtis is in your class, why is it that you're not differentiating to meet Curtis's needs and providing all of the necessary appropriations, tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 services to meet those needs? And yet we're then charging Curtis's parents additional that. And it's a unique conversation.
I mean, I can say that to an extent, but there's also, if you've got a student that's maybe a little bit behind, that's another individual that you're putting them in front of that they have to form a relationship with. It's maybe it's an hour a week or whatever, I don't know.
Is this specific,
Makes sense to me.
money changing hands, or does it matter? Because I just feel the after school help, that's as a parent how I would look at it. And I know tutoring has a different connotation, but I just think in that realm.
I guess I was just thinking, based on that example you just gave, if I had that serious of concern, I'd probably be going to the office or someplace to fight for that student to be moved to another class. If I didn't feel like they were getting what they need during the day. So, I don't feel comfortable with this, but it's just me.
Yeah.
No,
Well, and this is actually, we're not changing, it's not recommended to change something we've already had in our policy. The only thing we're doing is making it so more teachers can tutor if they want to, other students. It's making it more accessible to, but it's up for discussion anytime we look at these policies, whether we want to eliminate a part of it.
I guess that's where I stand, because that's where I want to go with personally.
I would want more info is does this happen? How often does that happen anymore? Is there are there apps for tutoring that I'm thinking or when we were in school, it's hard to kind of, it's a totally different time. So I'd be interested in just more information.
I think the best thing you need to do is probably ask teachers, and maybe have the administration ask teachers, going forward, what do you think? In retrospect, I mean, really what it boils down to is I'm asking the teacher their time every single day to make sure that kid is successful, right? Because we want to increase our scores. So if we have this one kid that's lagging, we want to make sure that they're taken care of. I would want to know what the teachers think. So I mean, I would put it back onto the teachers a little bit. Say, hey, what do you think about this?
So if we move this tonight to a second reading, we would be bringing it up again then in policy meeting, and we could maybe get some feedback and dig into that a little bit more, just to kind of be in a place where we're feeling more comfortable, I guess. Does that seem like a good plan?
Also,
It's not final, right?
Well, I was saying, if we left it on first reading, though, would it not come back up to policy?
I think that question in the past is, again, I'm no one's lawyer, and I know Attorney Wilson, now Attorney Garner with us, but I believe what I recall, it goes third reading.
Yeah.
Moving on throughout the course of the process, doesn't.
This just documents the process that it's we're going to first, and then we're gonna, sounds like we'll take it back to the March.
Because we also offer during STEM again after school help to catch up on e-learning. Like we just did that. So it's, how does that play into this? Would that not be allowed? Because it's e-learning and it's not really tutoring, it's getting caught up. As not a teacher, clearly, I just want like specific guidelines because I think it gets real gray.
This leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
So if we move this to second reading, I mean, pretty much we're giving you the marching orders to dive into this policy and make sure that as we talk about it, it gets flushed out with.
And I think when you do that, I would be very interested in seeing what the administrative guidelines look like too.
Yeah.
I think that those can be interesting.
Mr. Hensley, not to steal any of your thunder, if you wanted to contribute to the conversation, feel free.
I'll say two things. First, this policy as it stands exists in board docs, approved already. So it is an effort to loosen what the policy currently already says. And it does reference the Indiana code. There's a law attached to that. There's a conflict of interest cross-reference. So I think we should be careful about what law it's referencing. But again, I think it's totally fine to bring it to the next policy meeting and dig more into it. We should. If the board would like to eliminate that entire section, we can definitely talk about that and figure out what our certified teaching, what they are requesting. The concern would be that if an educator, it says remedial services specifically. So it's for remedial tutoring services. So if there is a student in their class that needs remedial tutoring, they would be the one that can't provide it. Any other teacher in the district could, just not the teacher that they have already for class. And the policy further loosens so that it says in the semester. That's high school specific. So if there's a teacher at the high school that has a 2-semester course, they can tutor that student remedially, just not as long as they're in the first semester course. But I think we can and should take it to the next policy meeting. And I can dig more into it with the policy chair.
Perfect. Thank you. I think throughout the course of the next policy meeting, we can further dive in and really further clarify, especially the term remedial services as is.
You can define that, yeah.
Yeah, what do you define that for your people as board, help you even better understand it? Well.
Let's speak. I live.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All right, all those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 6.05, policy 5462, technical correction on retaking a taking class first reading.
Move policy 5462, retaking a class to second reading.
Second.
So motion by member Stoltz, a second by member Pickering. Any questions or comments on this?
My comments are, it came to policy meeting, it was the second time to the policy group. Mr. Hensley worked with the high school administration and assistant superintendent of secondary education to recommend the options that were chosen. And the options that were chosen were to not create limits for students, to leave it so that students have opportunities to do better, learn more.
All right, all those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 6.06, policy 8121, is also a technical correction on the personal background check and contracted services, and this is in its first reading.
I make the motion to move policy 8121 to second reading.
Second.
Second.
It's a motion by member Brunton, a second by member Pickering. Questions or comments?
Another policy meeting discussion. This is about background checks for contracted services, not just background checks for other employees, but people we contract with. Mr. Hensley got lots of feedback from our attorney Matthews, is that right? Yeah, lots of feedback, several additions, deletions, changes to best protect our students and our staff. These are the recommendations of Mr. Hensley and attorney Matthews.
All right, all those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 6.07 is policy 0142 on election and eligibility to serve. This is for second reading and approval.
Make the motion to approve policy 0142. I'll second.
Excuse me. Motion by member Brunton, second by member Stoltz. Any questions or comments?
Last comment, sorry, it's gonna be my last comment. This policy, along with the next two, have gone through policy special meeting and to school board, and so I've made comments on them in the past, so I don't reiterate that.
I just want to say that I do not like that we have to do this policy. I take pride in keeping politics out of your school board, and it's an attempt to bring it back in. And I'll live in that.
Very unfortunate.
Very.
Very unfortunate. All right, all those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 6.08 is policy 3220, staff evaluation for second reading and approval.
I move to approve policy 3220.
Second. So a motion by member Stoltz, a second by member Oloriaga. Questions, comments? Nothing from Kristen? All right. All right. See the finish. All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Item 6.09 is policy 3220.01, teacher appreciation grants, second reading and approval.
I make a motion to approve policy 3220.01 for teacher appreciation grants.
I will second that.
That's a motion by member Eloriaga, second by member Stoltz. Questions, comments on this policy?
I simply would like to say congratulations to those educators who awarded grants. I know that this year, and I think it was mentioned earlier, it was a unique year when it came to the teacher appreciation grant. However, other cards that were dealt, I think collectively with our local association, our central office, as well as and those not affiliated with the association came together to establish and arrive at an equitable approach. So I commend all involved and definitely a young human resource director that had some cards dealt him really fast as he transitioned into that role.
I want to say thank you for the the resourcefulness that was used to make it as equitable as possible. Because it was like, what? We've got to do what now? You know, I felt like we did the best with the cards that were done. So thank you.
Was that a change this year at the state level on how to? So we did a lot of things with my part.
Yep. And thank you for getting creative because this is another one of those. Well,
Thank
the
you.
policy is okay, but just how the money came down this year was really unfortunate. And just how you.
Well, and it's like the design is to pit teachers against each other and compete. And we want to build unity amongst our teams, not divisiveness. So
Seems like it's the overall part for the course though, on attack on public education too, which is it's unfortunate. Really unfortunate, but
If there's money to award all, teachers that are really highly effective, great, but when you have multiple or numerous highly effective teachers in a smaller pool, I mean there's no way around that. Make it fair or.
how many were there?
38, 39, 37, 37.
And how many applied?
9.
109.
All right. All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. All right, up next we have open forum. Does anybody?
Yeah, I have one thing, I just wanted to bring up, the RHS is bringing back the student register, the newspaper. So, I don't know if I really saw the latest, issue, but I just happened to read it, so I was like, oh, I didn't know the newspaper was coming back, but it talked about boys volleyball and how, the athletic department, they are, I guess, we're getting boys volleyball team for this season is kind of how it read. I'm not 100% sure, which I think we would all be excited about because we know there's so much interest. I just want to make sure that we are really looking at those equitable numbers and making sure we address them, talk about them, and going through the 1009 audit. One thing is we don't want to detract from male athletes to try to recruit more female athletes. Like that's not the point. We want to recruit more female athletes and have an equitable division, but just hoping to get more information on that. Are we having a team this year? Making sure we're kind of keeping in the parameters. I don't have an answer for that. For the margins, I should say, on male to female student ratio and how we sort of address that as new sports are approved by the IHSLA, because this is one that was approved last year for this year. And I think, I don't remember what others, was it? Girls wrestling, right? But that one's hard because we have boys wrestling, so it's sort of, those two cancel each other out a little bit. But, we have these situations where they might improve, but I think the IHSAA is going to see it as we approve the girls sport and boys sport, but there's still a degree of balance issue. It's not really about the sports, it's about the number of overall athletes, but I just wanted to make sure we keep that in review.
That's still his thunder, and not to ask that our Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education, Mr. Sam Pritchard, join us if not necessary. But I know that all of what Mr. Pickering alluded to and addressed, I believe the boys volleyball has been around even. I think one of our members of our class, Mr. Wolf, I'd be remiss if I didn't reference his participation back then during our high school stint. But I believe as even of last year, we fielded a boys volleyball intramural
They tried to, but I did not hear that.
We didn't have the numbers. I see, yeah.
So I've always expressed interest, started up as a club.
Club, yes, club is what I meant, yeah.
And so the club process is to fill out a form, send that to Ms. Wolpe. And I don't know if they didn't get a sponsor or they didn't, to my knowledge, didn't quite get off the ground. So Mr. Lee was waiting, so once that caught traction, then it furthered that along. So I have not seen it in the paper, so I apologize. But
Yeah, it's just like a little snippet. It said, we don't have any details.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, it keeps coming up.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. That's all. Bringing it. So we're all on the same page.
Since we haven't talked about policies enough, I wanted to and let you know that we are all updated on policies. But the Stevens funding. Yes, we are. And the next update from Neola will be April. So, I mean, we do have a few policies that have been underway that will come back to the March, and we have one this evening also that we'll add. So we're on track. We're just staying up on our policies. So we'll look for that next update. So that was pretty exciting. Our next policy meeting is March the 10th at 4 p.m. We do alter the time from earlier in the day to later to hope to accommodate more people, community members or staff who would like to attend. So that's there. And a few visits since our last school board meeting I wanted to mention. In January, Nicole and I visited RHS. We got to visit in a chemistry classroom. I was trying to remember because that feels like a long time ago. We visited in a chemistry classroom, which was great to see. And of course, we got to walk through halls with Mrs. Wolpe to understand the new secure entrance. And then we visited an automotive class. So it was exciting. Some really cool cars and see students and teachers engaging and interested and excited about what they were doing. And chemistry as well, too. I just wasn't as engaged, but the students were and the teacher definitely was.
Well, I mean, when there's a cool Corvette getting its engine revved, that's pretty fun. That they get to work on. And I guess there's even a wait to get into the program. They have an application process with interviews, and Mr. Sumi is doing a great job with those kids. So that was fun.
The next day, I got to be a science fair judge at Hibbard, which was exciting for 3rd to 4th grade. And thank you for the invitation for that. I got to talk to students and see their interest in science and their experiments, which was super fun. And then I did get to be a judge for the spelling bee, which was equally exciting. And then in February, Nicole and I were able to visit Vail and visit in some classrooms, meet with Mrs. Vandervoort. I don't know if you want to talk about some of the stuff we did or. Yeah.
No, it was, they are working on, what were they calling it? The Olympics with different countries, which ties in obviously to the Olympics going on right now. But they were doing a recess type concept where they were competing with each other. And because they have indoor recess right now, maybe not today because it was gorgeous out, but a week ago or 2 weeks ago, whenever we were there, it was extremely cold. And so there was a lot of excitement around that. So that was good to see. Kristen, is that all you have?
That's it.
Okay, I've got a couple of things, just real quick. McBride. So we, as most people know, we've got the inaugural year of the Northwoods Baseball League. Super excited about that. And they are currently looking for the Richmond Flying Mummies, they're currently looking for host families for those players. So I just thought I'd put the word out for anybody who is interested in doing that. We'd love to support that team as they are our tenants, and we'd love to see them succeed. So if people are interested, their general manager is Trevor Amerson, and the office number I'm going to go ahead and give out is 765-973-3447. So that would involve hosting one of the baseball players. So just wanted to give a shout out that we're excited to have you on our field. Please take good care of it. And also, if you want to host, call Trevor. That's it.
All right, I wanted to give a shout out. We talked about some programs tonight, obviously through the strategic planning process, but I was conversing recently with Mr. Amos about the adult education program and the success that they are having with that. they are currently on pace to not only hit, but crush their goals that were apparently the state maybe had told them were possibly unreachable, and the number of graduates. So they're going to crush that so well that they are actually out getting financial support from area businesses and community partners that are helping to cover the cost of the testing for our students that may not otherwise be able to afford that. You know, he was sharing some of the success stories and whatnot. I guess recently they hosted a boot camp that I think it was 11 was the number of students that went through. Basically on a weekend, they tailored it to working adults. They went through on the weekend, crammed, studied, tested, and then 11 of them walked away with high school diplomas. So to him, the entire team, obviously all the hard work the teachers in that program put in, really helping, you know, I'd say mostly currently working adults achieve that high school diploma and take that next step, offer themselves, you know, better career opportunities. Big shout out. I want to make sure that one doesn't go unnoticed. That's obviously a huge, our career center, the adult education program. You got such a fantastic program here that definitely needs highlighted. So,
Mr. Brand, just to add to your sentiments, we encourage all of you, and I believe Mr. Pickering,
I was gonna say this.
Schultz, Ms. Broughton, past presidents that joined us during the adult commencement.
It is one of the, I don't cry, but I like cry the whole time. It's so rewarding and they are so happy and thankful and their families. It is, you know, it's one of those like their families are cheering and screaming for them. Like, and it's great. It's
family affair.
It really is, yeah.
We'll make sure that you all, well in advance, have no mistakes that things. And it's always healthy to sit forward. Experience is truly remarkable.
I like the word crush. That's awesome. Congrats. Congrats to our team. Amix. Congrats.
You know, he's a pretty
he's hitting great
pretty passionate guy. But, you know, obviously with him, it's all about his team. And obviously the students, you know, the work that they put in to achieve those goals. A lot of big things happening. Anything else? Right, preview of upcoming meetings. Chris and I already hit on the policy meeting Tuesday, March 10th at 4 p.m. The next school board business meeting will be Wednesday, March 18th at 5:30 p.m. Right back here in this room. And the April school board meeting has been moved to Tuesday, April 14th at 5:30 p.m. so that all school board members can attend the district ISBA regional meeting on April 15th when it was originally scheduled. So
You should probably see that the whole school board is going to COSBA.
yes, that will happen.
And Louisville.
Yes.
Coalition.
What's Cosmos stand for?
Give me a
Coalition of School something state school board associations. Sure, we just made it up. It's pretty.
But I think we're all excited. It's closer. But sometimes these are
Far away.
Far away. It's hard for us to, you know, spend money and use district resources to go somewhere.
I'd say as part of the strategic planning, those, you know, commitment to
Yes.
further training, development,
That was one of
team
our.
building.
Yep.
You know,
And we haven't gone in several years.
Yep.
this is a way to really
Our priority.
jump out and practice.
Part
Yes.
of the street plan is to build that coalition that we're, you know, moving forward.
It is the consortium.
Consortium.
State School Board Association.
State school.
May change that word.
It is a new organization, so it's not that we're right. It's newer formed, right?
NSBA was all the piece.
And council can move around, but I know that with the exit of the NSBA, this is for RCS, more commitment to this association.
Dr. Wright, we have the bell ringer.
President Bryant, trustees, I'm going to ask that Mr. Richard Hazelbaker rejoin us at the podium for this evening's Bell ring here. Mrs. Hazel Baker, welcome back, ma'am.
Thank you. I have two, so I told her it was one, but I want to thank our water maintenance and our custodial environmental services for all the snow removal that we encountered snow again. So I appreciate all of their work. And then I also wanted to highlight also that it was School Counseling Appreciation Week. So I just want to take a moment to highlight Dee Dee Deloney at Tester Intermediate School, Olivia Engel at Hibbert, Erin Hangley at Richmond High School, Katie Kitchen at Richmond High School, Zach Smith at Dennis, Stephanie Stout at Richmond High School, Morgan Williams at Dennis, and Monica Wright at High School. So our amazing counselors have really made an impact for our students, and we appreciate all your doing.
Thank you, Caesar.
Meeting adjourned.